What's up, my friends in the film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. Smile 2 is out. We now have the first two movies of what I'm sure is going to be a trilogy. And was this the Empire Strikes Back of the Smile trilogy? I'm going to discuss it with my horror experts today, while you can sit here and watch us bloviate endlessly about whether we like this movie or not. Who else can I have here to go over these movies except for my two buddies? Starting with my head or life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
Well, like I said, we're keeping the Smile train rolling. And hopefully there's a couple more cars on this train, because as I said, Tuesday, I think this this universe, this franchise, whatever you want to call it, has got some potential that I think could be explored. And I'm excited because I was holding on, trying to not say too much about 2, because honestly, I think I enjoyed 2 better than I did number 1. If you want to vote the poll, let me know what you think. There was your segue. I didn't realize that, but there you go. There's your segue.
Yeah, I haven't done a poll in a while, but I was like, I'll go ahead and put one up because we haven't done it in a bit, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so far it's tied, 1 vote each. Which Smile did you like more, Part 1, Part 2, or Casey Sucks? Yeah, I have a feeling I know which one's going to win the poll. I have a feeling.
Which one mine was, and we all know what somebody's opinion is of Casey. So
yeah. And the shape below Star State. Oh yeah, text. What's up, brother?
Hang on a minute. I feel nervous. I need some water.
Son of a bitch.
We
need more than that, man.
We all have to buy.
Well, okay.
You need a bottle.
I have. Okay. 2 things here. Number 1, I think Naomi Scott was just trying to show off her swallowing skills by gargling these gigantic bottles of water. Number 2, I have never seen a movie that made me want to have to go pee so bad trying to watch this thing. Jesus Christ, watching that much fluid, I'm like, okay, I need to go pee like 3 times before this thing's over. This is ridiculous. It's my God, what's going on?
I did think to myself at one point, I'm like, half this movie should be her on the toilet taking a piss. I mean, it's like every 5 minutes,
right? Like,
drinking water. She's guzzling.
How does she have time to be a pop star? She can't get off the toilet for drinking 15 gallons of water a day. But whatever.
I know it explains it in the movie why she does it. It's a whole like substitution of whatever trauma, whatever. But I was like, seriously, there's a drawback to substituting one addiction for another. When you're addicted to drinking water, you're going to pee a lot.
She has to work. She has to wear Depends everywhere she goes to make sure from peeing herself. Like you've got 5 gallons of fluid on you at all times. But whatever.
She definitely wasn't wearing Depends under any of those outfits, and I know damn well those outfits were off easy. So she was going to have a problem.
She left some to the imagination, unfortunately, but she gives you a good little bit. So it's
just saying, she's got bigger things to worry about, like fucking demons that smile at you and shit. So I don't know. Right. I'd rather pee my pants.
For sure, but one of the many things I thought funny about this movie. Let's talk about the cool things that scared us. We are, of course, here to talk about. I hit the wrong button there. Damn it! See, this is like clicking, not looking. We are here to talk about Smile 2, of course. This is a 2024 American psychological supernatural horror film, written and directed by Parker Finn, same guy who did the first one. It is a sequel to Smile in 2022. The film stars Naomi Scott as a pop star who begins to experience a series of increasingly disturbing events as she is about to go on tour. It also features Rosemarie DeWitt, Lukas Gage, Miles Gutierrez-Riley, Peter Jacobson, Ray Nicholson. We'll talk about him a little bit as we go on, as well as Kyle Gallner reprising his role from the first film. Smile 2 was released theatrically in the United States on October 18th of this year. The film received positive reviews from critics and has so far gone on to gross $51 million worldwide at a budget of $28 million. That's also not including, I think, this last weekend, so I think it's probably got more than that by now. The film received positive reviews from critics who said it was an improvement over the first film. On Rotten Tomatoes, 86% of 154 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 6.9 out of 10. The website's consensus review reads, quote, blessed with a nerve-jangling star turned by Naomi Scott at his disposal, writer-director Parker Finn broadened Smile's conceit into pop stardom nightmare that will leave a rictus grin on horror fans' faces. A lot of big. I hate it when they use a lot of stupid words to try to make their consensus review sound better, but that's what happens when you let AI do your writing for you, folks. Let that be a lesson to you, folks. At Rotten Tomato. But let's get down to the nitty gritty of it. I'll start with you, Jeremy. Give me your quick thoughts on Smile 2.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. I thought it was kind of interesting how they did connect it to the first movie. So I was curious how that was gonna work out. Seeing the trailers and whatnot, again, I was already excited and sold on the expansion of like this now being someone who's in very very much in the public light, someone who's a well-known pop singer. I'm like, wow, that could really get insane, and I'm glad they threw in some scenes in the trailer and also in the movie, obviously, of is that a crazed fan or is that someone just really excited to see her? It's like, man, that could get even worse, and I get a little taste of both. But yeah, no, I like this one. Again, I liked how it kept it going from the first, and like we said, it kind of happens like less than a week after. So that's kind of crazy. And I think this definitely gives us with the ending gives us kind of a crazy way to end this. Now, I don't know if we're going to continue on like we did like from the two, or like we said Tuesday. I'd be totally down with like a prequel way back to like, I don't know, maybe I don't need to have everything explained, but I'm like, I would actually be curious to see how this thing started, or maybe get like the early iterations of this thing. But yeah, this one was pretty cool. It was very, very much on the edge of your seat. A lot of water chugging, and I will say, and I said I would save this, but somebody can't go a goddamn day without mentioning Diddy, and I will mention where that happened later in the review. Gotta have a great theater experience. I'm telling you what.
No, how about you, Tex? Give me your quick thoughts on Smile 2.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of expectation for this movie going into it. The first film, I think Jeremy's kind of described it as like it's like a roller coaster that starts off really well and then it's just all downhill from there. Like you've had your highest peak. So going into Smile 2, I was like, you know what? It's a horror film in October. Of course, I'm going to see it. There's no way I'm not. And I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed this movie. It was, obviously this is a spoiler review, so I liked the take on the sky, pop icon character Taylor Swift or whatever, kind of thing. And I like the kind of ride that they take you on with her because you go from like feeling bad for her to like, holy crap, you should be in prison right now. You deserve everything that you get. I no longer feel bad for you. That was at least my ride, anyways. But yeah, this was a fun one. Of course, we'll break down all the nitty gritty as we go, but I was pleasantly surprised. So it was this was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, it's going to sound like I'm shitting on this movie over the course of this review, even though I'm not. I liked the movie ultimately at the end of the day. I thought it was solid. I thought it felt like a bigger production than the first one. The first one had a kind of an independent feel to it, whereas this one felt like more of a Hollywood production. But it didn't really take away from it. I thought it was pretty good storytelling by Parker Finn. Again, I thought the performances were actually very good at times. I like the change of setting. I think it added a different complication that we didn't get from the first movie. But there were aspects of the story progression that just didn't really land with me. There was some things I wanted to see that kind of pushed the overall story down its path a bit, that just don't happen in this movie. It was missing a couple things the first one had that would have made it an even better film than the first one. Ultimately, it was good. I liked the first one a little bit better, but this was still a good film with a lot of great performances. We'll get into the comparisons between the two later, but first, I mean, we've already talked about Parker Finn being a new director. Let's talk now about the plot. We've got this girl who sees this crazy thing go on. Well, I mean, we get, obviously the movie starts almost immediately where the first one ends off. You get to see Kyle Gallner's character go through what he goes through. We'll talk about the kill scenes here later on, but it ends up finding its way, of course, to Naomi Scott's character. I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think of the plot of the film, or sorry, the cast rather? Was there somebody who stood out the most to you, and what did you think of the cast overall?
I thought the cast was fun. I'm a fan of Kyle Gallner. I mean, he's done everything from Smallville back in the day to so many B horror movie kind of things. Just he was in Scream 5. He was on Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I've always been a fan of his, but Jack Nicholson's son, is it Ray? I can't remember what his name is.
Ray Nicholson, yeah.
That dude, that scene where once they finally
Yeah.
reveal how that went down, where he just snaps. I'm thinking like he just watched his old man from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and he just okay. Here's what Dad did. Oh my God, he's just you're a bitch, you're a fucking psycho, blah 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 blah. And you can, if you put Joker makeup on him in that moment, he's his father. Yes, like if DC needs a new Joker, we found him for you. He's right there. He's got it. Just give him the role.
I know it's nepotism, but damn it, come on. Just let him play Joker.
I don't care. Sometimes nepotism is okay when it's that good.
You know what?
And
Call it symmetry, call it kismet, call it serendipity.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's face it, they're restarting the whole DC thing, and wouldn't it be a pretty good symmetry?
Dude,
put him in makeup.
I was gonna say, take that guy.
I'm just saying.
Paint his hair green. Yeah, paint his hair green. Give him the white face, the lips. Yeah, James Gunn, I did all your work for you. I will be waiting for my royalty check, sir. But no, that scene where he finally snaps and he's just going off on Sky, and you see her just yank that willow. Like the madness he's showing in that one scene is so good. Like, yeah, this movie kind of meanders around a little bit. It should have been closer to 90 minutes, I think. But his scenes were great when he stands up in that crowd and he's so, even saying nothing, he has such a presence to it that you can't not like the guy.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? What do you think of the cast of the film and who stood out for you the most?
Yeah, I don't have any qualms with the cast. Honestly, I thought it worked, and like I said, there's the one, one glue that kind of holds it together. And like I said, we just kind of hit the ground running immediately, following the events of the first movie, and and this guy is kind of the bridge that's still alive, rather. Until about 3 seconds after that scene right there. But you find out this drug dealer knew Sky when they were in high school and stuff like that, and obviously he kept his career path, as it were. So I like that it kind of then reached to a bigger scale. Like I said, now that it's attached itself to this big pop singer who's on her way back. I guess this is kind of her redemption arc or whatever, because she not only drove Jack Nicholson's son off of a cliff into a damn tree and killed him, and damn near killed herself over it, but she was struggling with some addiction, some drugs and or alcohol, probably both. And that, like I said, I think with the first movie, it gave you kind of this character has problems of their own that they're trying to work past, and of course when they start talking some wild shit, they're like, oh yeah, you're probably on drugs again, like, oh, that Sky, she's doing it again. So it inherently gives you a really like you want to root for, and it's like it's frustrating as shit when you don't well, first of all, when you don't know what's actually going on. So
yeah, I've got questions too. Yeah, I've got a lot of questions.
I know who I liked the most in the cast, and I was going to say that. That's where I'm leading to, where I'm like, but I don't know if it actually happened. I guess it didn't.
Were you even really in this movie?
Did this whole movie even happen? Or did we just, like, we had the Planet Terror thing where it's like, hey, this happened, lost the whole reel, boom, the whole shit's on fire and it's over. I'm like,
we need to insert the picture of Charlie Day with the red yarn tying conspiracies together of who was and wasn't there. We could do that all day. So yeah.
So whether she was or was not there, I think her best friend or former best friend Gemma was my absolute favorite. With her just her vibe and her deadpan delivery of just everything, and the really sarcastic, even like you don't say anything, like when she first gets there and she's Naomi Scott like picks up some big fucking piece of artwork and is like holding it over her head, but the bat, she doesn't say a word. She just kind of like Oh, okay. And like picks up something like smaller behind her. Like, what are we doing? Like, who the hell are we jumping here?
Oh, that reveal scene right there. Oh my God,
Yeah,
I love
because I
that
was gonna
scene.
say right there at the end when
God,
she's
that
grabbing
was
her, and she just smiles at her. I'm like, son of a bitch. Because then she like actually in that scene she calls her on her phone, seemingly I guess for the first
yeah.
time.
She calls her
And I'm like,
back.
wait.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. So she wasn't actually there. But yeah,
I had a feeling about that earlier in the film too.
yeah, I kind of like forgot about it. It's like one of those things that of all the stuff that probably didn't happen, or I was kind of hoping. I'm like, I hope the best friend's at least real. I didn't even really like the doctor. I think was an interesting, or I guess he was a doctor. I don't know if he was really there or not. Freaking the Tony Shalhoub looking knockoff guy who's supposed to be like an ER nurse, who don't let him
Yeah.
take you into a sketchy freezer of Pizza Hut because you might die in there.
It's Peter Jacobson.
Yeah, I think I've seen him before. But I kept thinking like, he looks like Monk. So
I've got some trivia about him that might ring a bell for you later.
Yeah, no,
She goes into. Hang on, real quick. Since you brought this up, don't ever go into a freezing with a random stranger who says, "Here, take your clothes off, put this robe on," before they even turn around. So they're looking at you, telling you to get naked in an abandoned Pizza Hut.
Turn around.
Nothing good is going to happen here. Like just a little bit of safety concern. You know what I mean?
I know he kind of explained why we're in this like derelict building, but I'm like,
yeah, he needed something with a big enough freezer. Come on, man.
And I'm sure we'll get into it with the plot, but I'm like, what he was suggesting, as I said from before, I'm like, maybe there's a way to defeat this demon, but it's like we don't actually know if that does work or not. So I don't know. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for me, there's not really a weak spot in the cast. Everybody in this movie does really, really well. Everything is acted just right. I mean, I think this character, what was his name? I don't know, Lukas Gage. Yeah, he is menacingly terrifying when he finally loses his shit. And just minutes before, he is perfectly encompassing this guy who's losing his damn mind, who is on the tail end of this curse, whatever it may be. I thought his performance in that scene was awesome. Obviously, Ray Nicholson. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
he's in the movie. He's in the movie for two scenes. This scene and the one, of course, the conversation in the car. And I think it's kind of funny that two of the best scenes in this movie had nothing to do with horror. They were just so well delivered with dialogue and acting. I was like, wow, this is something else. I really do think that Naomi Scott, though, she does carry this film. It was going to be a hard sell to find somebody who carried the film the way that the girl from the first film did. I thought she did a fantastic job. I think actually Naomi Scott does a bit better a job in this film because you're selling this whole new environment, this whole new situation that this entity finds itself in. So you got to come with something. You got to come with a different kind of energy, something more. I think she does it in spades. Now, granted, she's been part of big productions before. She was in the Aladdin movie with Will Smith several years ago, which made $1 bajillion. She was in the Power Rangers movie several years back. There was actually a decent movie right up till the end, which it kind of lost its way. But yeah, she is more than capable. So yeah, this was really her acting the shit out of this whole thing. I thought she was fantastic in it. And really, everybody plays a fantastic role in this movie. I can't knock any of the cast. Who stands out for me? It's got to be Naomi Scott. I mean, yes, the other side performances are great. The lady that played her mom, I thought, did pretty well. But I mean, and then there's this girl. I mean, I kind of I've never seen a little girl look so cute and so creepy in my entire life. But yeah, I think Naomi Scott really just kills it in this movie. Of the two girls that have been in these two movies, I think she's the best one so far.
But, I think the only part of this cast that I thought was just annoying as hell is it was the assistant guy, and he just, I don't know what it was about his presence within the film. Like he's kind of the peon of the mom and Sky Riley, of course, whatever. That's just for whatever reason he was annoying. I don't know. I didn't like him.
That's what a lot of PAs are in the industry, in the entertainment industry.
I guess. I don't know.
That's what they are. They're the little bitch boy who gets yelled at, and he's like, "I'm so sorry, Scott." And he's the one that makes sure you don't have any green M&Ms in the bowl in the green room, that kind of thing. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, and I've never actually met a PA, I've never been one, but generally speaking, from what I've heard, a lot of PAs in the business are like this. They're there to suck up and, just kind of, they just want to be around. They just want to be part of it all. I didn't really mind his character. He's not very significant. I mean, he's really only there to get yelled at by Sky a couple of times, and past that, he doesn't really have a purpose. I didn't mind his character. It would have been more interesting if maybe he would have died like grotesquely at some point, like maybe Sky would have killed him instead of her mother. Or did he? We don't know who the hell actually died in this movie, except for maybe Naomi Scott at the very end. Spoiler alert. But I have no idea what the hell this movie even was. But there is a piece of trivia I got that might kind of shed some light on that. Exactly where this movie turns into an illusion, where it stops being reality for her and starts being an illusion. But I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys to talk about. But let's move on to the plot now. And Jeremy, I'll go to you first. What do you think of the plot of the film? Better than the first one? I saw the scene. I actually started thinking of you because there's a video game reference in the scene that I think you're going to get. But the plot of the movie, did it work for you? Is there something you would have changed?
Her daughter made me like a Doctor Who reference every time she fucking turns around, and whoa, there they are. These guys operate like boos out of Mario. As soon as you look at them, they stop, and you turn your back, they come fucking flying at you.
I was actually thinking about that one cheat on Call of Duty on what's that really small map? Nuketown.
Oh, Nuketown.
It was one of the newer Call of Duties. They were like if you shot the heads off the mannequins.
Oh, you shot the heads off the mannequins.
And the mannequins would chase you when you turned away, and when you turned to look at them, they would stop kind of in that pose. Yeah. And that's exactly what they were doing in that scene. As I watched that scene, I thought of that hack from Nuketown in Call of Duty.
Yeah, I remember that one. I appreciate that someone may or may not be listening to me in Hollywood about sequels. First of all, they're not getting the message that stop fucking making them 30 years too goddamn late. But when you do a sequel and you go bigger, that's exactly what they did here. And like I said, when you now attach this thing to someone who is a famous singer, I mean, I'm sure that demon is absolutely giddy that now it's like, ooh, I've got like a lot of reach now. I got plenty of people I can infect. And I think that's something I didn't think about until the end of the movie, where I'm like, so it seems like it's always just one-on-one. Like it's somebody dies or they kill someone and then someone else witnesses it. And now it's passed on to them. And I think, Frank, you said this last time, someone asked the director, like, so what if like more than one person saw it? Because I'm like, that seems more likely. Sure, Sosie Bacon tried to just go out into her old abandoned childhood home that lives, in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, okay. She's like a little lost animal. I'm gonna go by myself and die somewhere. But no, this one happened kind of like right out in public, literally. So I thought that was really cool, and like I said, it expands on more of what this entity, this demon, whatever it is, does. And I'm pretty sure, and I think I can bring it up now, I'm pretty sure when we saw it on stage, I'm fairly certain that thing got bigger somehow. Because it looked, I mean, like those stages aren't exactly small, and it's on the end of that little runway that, a lot of them have, like where they walk down into the crowd and whatnot. So that was pretty cool. I think this one played more into the, we're going to go along for this ride, and we have no idea what's real, and we're kind of just relying on Naomi Scott to get us there. But she's losing her own damn mind. Probably not only the fact that she's trying to recover from being an addict and trying to get back out there, but now she's got this thing following her around. I thought it was pretty cool. I really hope we get part 3 happens like 6 seconds after this one, not 6 days like this one did. I'm like, I want to know what the hell just happened at the end, that she just killed herself in front of an entire crowd. So that I assume all these people are now infected. So is there going to be like some big mass suicide or mass murder in the next like minute or in the next like 7 days? Because holy shit. That's insane. Yeah, that was an intriguing ending. I don't know. What about you, Tex? What did you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you? Was there anything you would have changed about it?
Well, fair warning, I'm nursing a chicken here, so I'll mute while I'm not talking
Oh, no.
because it's got a messed up leg and I have to hold it. So fair warning. Um, yeah, no, I liked it. I like that we go right from the end of the first one. Uh, Great opening scene, by the way. Like he's like purposely looking for bad people to pass this thing to, and then that college, frat bro kind of guy comes in. This wasn't meant for you. It wasn't meant for you. I like that scene. But once we get into the Sky Riley stuff, it's like I said at the beginning of this. When we start out, it's like, okay, this poor girl, she had some addiction issues, which a lot of us have those kind of problems. That's not that's a relatable thing. She's kind of the rich, spoiled kind of type, you could tell. But as they reveal more about her character, it's like she's not necessarily a good person. I mean, I know, when you're high, you do bad things, but you killed somebody. Like, if you weren't a famous pop star, you would be in prison right now. Like, I like how they kind of said that without saying it. And, as far as progressing the plot goes, yeah, this is a bigger version of the first film, but it's a better version of the first film. It's a more entertaining version. A bit too long for me, but I enjoyed it. As far as the indie goes, and we'll talk about that, I actually have an idea for a Smile 3 that I think could work and be entertaining. But yeah, I thought it was fun to explore it kind of seems like they're making up the rules of this as they go. It's like they don't have the ironclad book of rules for this nailed out. But hey, you know what? I'm happy to go along for the ride, so I dig it.
Yeah, I thought it was a great choice to take this entity and to put it into somebody who is the polar opposite of what we got from Sosie Bacon's character in the first movie. She's a very not introverted, but not exactly not well known. Her life is very contained amongst her circle of people, and then you go from that to the other end of the spectrum to Naomi Scott's character, who is essentially like Britney Spears or Lady Gaga, super famous, people around her all the time, constantly going. I mean, a different level of stress. I mean, different whole everything. A broken person, of course, but because that's kind of the whole point. I mean, this entity chases around broken people, but really drastically changing the setting, I thought was fantastic. That was a great idea, and I thought it was executed fairly well. There are little things about the plot that I wasn't fond of. I think she was just constantly this whole movie getting run. I mean, it slowly absorbs her over the course of the movie like it does. It was missing that element of her trying to figure things out the way that we got from Sosie Bacon's character in the first movie. That was one of the things I thought this movie was really badly missing, is that the mystery that we got to see her solve over the course of the first movie, that element was missing from this movie, and it just it took away something for me. There was a dimension of the story that was taken away from me, because while it was an interesting ride to watch Naomi Scott's character go through her thing, it was kind of like we already kind of saw this in the first movie. None of this is a surprise. It's just different people she's just seeing different ghosts. She's seeing the same ghosts as different faces. That was the part that really kind of disappointed me about this. So while I thought it was a good movie, the plot could have given us more answers about the entity and what it is, and it just didn't. It just continued on the story that we already got. It didn't really push the overall narrative of this entity's story down the line at all. It just exists again. Here it is. It's doing its thing, and that was pretty much it. That was kind of all it was. So I think this would have been a better standalone movie rather than like a second part of whatever. But it's a Smile movie, so whatever. I don't know. Jeremy, what do you think? Am I wrong in saying that it was missing that extra little dimension of story, or what? What do you think?
Well, I don't mind that. Like I said, it's someone who's under a lot of pressure, not only to get back on the horse, as it were, to get back on tour, get her life back together. Which she's not. It's like she's trying, but like you're going around like buying Vicodin from the drug dealer. Which, I mean, I get it. You probably don't want to be in pain, but it's a slippery slope there, and her dealing with that whole thing. I thought maybe the reason because she was so high profile of a person, they did bring in, like I said, the doctor or nurse, whatever his whole thing was. Because I kind of got to the point too where I'm like, okay, but is she just gonna die? Like, who's gonna, like, how are we gonna figure this out? And he comes to her. Well, he was texted. They laid the seeds out of, like, he was trying to text her throughout the movie until I think she got to a point where she finally decided to say something to whoever this unknown number was. Which I was kind of like, is that gonna be the demon? Because that's interesting, but it wasn't, which
Yeah.
I wasn't mad about, because I'm like, now it is that person who's to give her some sort of, like, here, I can explain what the hell's actually happening to you because it happened to his brother. Again, allegedly. I mean, we saw for a split frame some guy who put a crowbar through his jaw, which is what he said happened. I mean, I don't know if that happened either. Again, I have no goddamn clue. I just feel like if he wasn't real, I don't know why it would have happened that early in the movie, because that was like almost immediately. Like the next day, texted and said, like, "Hey, were you at Lucas's house last night?" It was like the morning after, so I don't know. He's kind of the only one that really brings that to light, and then, like, when he just kind of pisses off out of the freezer, and then I don't know if that even happened, because she tried to stab herself in the neck with the drug to get rid of the demon, and then all of a sudden, poof, it's gone, because this demon's a little shithead trickster. So I don't know if it's friends with Loki or something like that, but man, this little fucker has got some tricks up its sleeve. It's just not going to let you, get off easy. It's like, either, I guess, like Frank's quote down there. It's like, no, you're not in control at all. This demon's in control of you. It's like, I get to kill you, and I'm going to keep doing my thing. So I don't know. I think that's what the whole point was. Not that I didn't like, Naomi Scott just slipping in and out of, just going psychotic because of this thing tearing her life apart. But I don't know. I question whether it happened. That's why I'm like, nah. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really kind of bummed that we didn't get, because this movie's so new, I couldn't find a lot of screen captures and stuff like that. A lot of the scenes, I couldn't really get any of the kills. But let me ask you guys this: which movie had the better kills? Was it this movie or the first movie? Because they were both pretty good. I think this movie was probably a little gorier, a little bit more horror, and that didn't bother me at all. Tex, what do you think? Better kills in this movie or the first one?
Well, okay, here's the thing, though. A lot of this is CGI gore, though. Like, and I think Jeremy can attest it. It looks good, but you know it's not real. Like, so I kind of take away from it a little bit. But just basing off of the kills alone, I mean, yeah, in the first one, we got the shard of glass across the neck. But this one, I mean, well, like you brought up, whenever the guy rips his jaw off with the crowbar, like, that was gnarly. That was amazing to see. This dude right here, who takes the 35-pound weight and just
take a dumbbell weight and smack your face in. Like,
it's
what?
He goes from looking like that to looking like Vicky from the Terrifier films, like in like 2 seconds. It's like, holy crap, that's nuts. Now, I think the best, honestly, out of all of the kills, the mom killing herself in this movie, I think, is my favorite one. Just because, like, you kind of suspect it, if you watch the first Smile, but then it's like, okay, mom's going off, she's snapped, right? And then I gave up my career, blah blah blah, and you're like, oh, shut up, woman, you're annoying, whatever. Then she smacks the mirror, picks up the glass, and starts stabbing herself in the throat and the face, and I'm like, holy crap, like that was gnarly. So I think that was probably my favorite. I think I'd have to go 2 as far as kills go, but I would have liked to have seen more practical than as much CGI as we got. But that's just me.
Jeremy, what do you think? The kills in this movie, as good as the first one or better?
I think they were, excuse me, a little more interesting. Like I said, I can't say that I've ever seen somebody beat their face in with a 35-pound weight. So, yeah, I can always appreciate using unconventional stuff. Like I think when we watched, oh hell, what was that? The Evil Dead. I was like, yeah, well, I'll never look at a cheese grater the same. So, whew, it sends a shiver down your spine when you get a cheese grater to the back of your Achilles heel, man. God damn. So I can appreciate when you do just unconventional stuff. Yeah, because I appreciate the crowbar through the jaw too. I'm like, yeah, but did it happen? Because I feel like the only things that actually happened. I like the shot at the end. I mean, like it's almost goofy, but like still horrifying when you see like the end of a microphone sticking out of her eye socket.
I tried really hard to find that picture and I couldn't.
I was hoping you had that one at least. Damn it.
That's the problem with these new release movies is a lot of the stuff isn't out yet. A year from now, all this shit's going to be on the internet, but I couldn't find it.
I thought that was kind of cool. That was a cool visual. And taking this thing into like from the first movie, we saw the monster kind of in the dim derelict house and it was on fire and it was, you know, I appreciate it being dimly lit and shit like that, but I'm like even weirdly just out in the under the stage lights and just right there in front of everybody, I'm like, damn, that's something else. Because I'm like, I know that only she can see it, but there was something kind of terrifying about the fact that this thing was just plopped right in front of her with a whole crowd of people watching whatever she's doing until she stands up and just drops the mic into her face, essentially. Which I think the only things that really happened, I guess, might have been the beginning, Lewis, and then her. Because I agree with Tex. I think the most brutal kill was probably the mom. Just turning and smiling and then just like stabbing her own throat and then like stabbing her eye. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Shit. And I think that was a really cool, like, the horror type reveal when she like is panicking, trying to figure out what to do. And then she gets to the door and then like you see her stop and then like in frame you see her hold up the piece of glass and I'm like, oh shit. What? And then like she realizes it and starts to freak the fuck out. As you would. So then I'm like, damn, that was a hell of a twist. And then it played on that and lingered on it for long enough to where I'm like, damn, did she really kill the mom? Holy fuck. And then, you got to make your way out of a crowded hospital and tear off down the streets of, bustling New York
wearing
City.
A bloody hospital gown. There's nothing of that.
And you just throw a sweater of it with your own face on it. I'm sure no one will.
Then again, this is modern day, assumedly New York, so this stuff may happen like 4 times a week. We don't know. I mean, have you seen New York lately? Is it
somebody walking around covered in blood?
They're like, it's another day on Tuesday again. Well,
it's weird. It's weird when the crime rate's not at that level in New York City, but whatever. Now, one thing I was going to say though about Jeremy, like, and I don't know if Frank has any like. I don't know. Okay, well, what was worse, this movie or Joker, like the first one, about the unreliable narrator? Like, which one do you think was worse? Because they were very comparable
for me.
Well, he doesn't have a demon that does its whole thing. Is that
right? I'm not meaning like plot device like that. No, I just mean like we're obviously dealing with somebody who's not well. Like. They play with it fast and loose, you know what I mean?
Well, it was like one big reveal at the end for Joker. It was like, we just assume that we're just following this happening as it's going. And I mean, all we have to rely on is Arthur and what he's showing us, not necessarily telling, but showing us what's happening. And then they reveal it like when he's sitting in her apartment at the near the end. And she's like, who are you? Like, what are you doing in my house? And you realize, oh, shit, none of that happened. And then it unravels the whole thing at the end of like, she wasn't really there with him. He didn't actually do this. And I guess he actually did kill his mom. But like, that happened. You know what I mean? It wasn't so much back and forth as this one might have been. Because like I said, it's not. I don't know. Was the crazed fan actually possessed? Or was he just like a crazy fan and she for some reason thought she saw him in the apartment?
Well, okay, for me, I'll say this. I think everything after seeing the friend die is not real because at that point, that's when the possession starts. They never clearly state, like, okay, well, obviously we learn this whole process takes a week, right? So
Yeah.
it would make sense that the demon's powers would start affecting her the second he comes in, right? So everything after that probably didn't happen, which is kind of like, how do you explain Fight Club? Like, how do you fist fight yourself in the garage complex and throw yourself down a flight of stairs? Like, how do you do so many of these things and explain it to where it makes sense? You have to take a lot of salt with this to make it make sense, kind of thing. But
But
it's I don't know.
Well, it at least like it kept like the thrill going, where you're kind of on the edge of your seat, wondering if it really did happen or not. And at the end, I was kind of like, okay, but how much of all that did happen? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
There
Well,
may have been
that's
some
what I'm saying.
times in between that did, but
I think everything after her seeing the death, I think that's when she's done. I think the demons took over by that point, and here we go. That's just my theory, but I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the kills were amazing. I mean, you start off with a really awesome one with Kyle Gallner's character, like that. I felt bad for him. I was like, yeah, but you finally got rid of the damn thing. Who cares if it goes to Louis Pagoli? It's like you finally got rid of it.
Because that's why you don't go play in traffic. He almost got away. That was some Final Destination bullshit. Where
that was some Final Destination shit.
And swiped him right off the road. I was like, well, okay.
But yeah, I think the two best scenes in this movie, ironically, were that one and the scene in the car where she's arguing with her boyfriend. I was like, that was a very intense scene. And I like how a lot it was shot from points of view. It would cut back from one point of view to the other. Like it's not just the cameras looking into the car as they're doing their thing. It's like you're actually seeing it from their perspective, from their point of view, which made it that much cooler. And especially when she yanks on the steering wheel and sends them off the road, you see it from their point of view. I was like, that's kind of terrifying to think that you would ever be in a car that's shooting off a snowy road into a bank of trees. But yeah, I thought that was one of the most intense scenes in this entire movie. I thought that was beautifully shot. I think it was awesome. You don't get to see any real visual. I mean, you kind of do over the course of the movie, her hanging there and him all fucked up and all that. It wasn't the craziest gore that this movie had to offer, but I thought it was one of the better scenes. But I mean, dude, Louis Pagoli smashing his own face in. I was like, and I love the fact that they stayed on him. So it's like he hits himself in the face with this plate, and then he brings it back down. And he hits himself again and brings it back down. And every time you can see how that face is getting more and more mangled. And then finally he goes to pull it down like the last time. And you see like the left side of his jaw kind of like peel off and fall down. I was like, that is some good shit right there. That's how you do that.
That was cool.
That was pretty awesome. And then of course, like her mom like slicing herself up, I think was a much more intense version of how the girl killed herself in the beginning of the first movie. It was that to like another level. It's like we're not just gonna like do this thing and then she dies. She's gonna stab herself in the eye and do all kinds of other crazy shit and all that. That was a way more intense version of that. But yeah, I love the kills.
When it comes to those kills, though, the one thing that this film missed when it came to the kills was, okay, we get to see how the dream kills happen, right? There should have been a flashback at some point of how it really went down. Like, that's what a good horror film does when there's a kill like that. We should have seen her actually smashing mom's head against the glass mirror and doing her in or whatever. That's the one thing that was missing from these kills. That would have made it a lot better. I will say that.
Yeah, I think the kills are pretty good. Now let's make the comparison to we've already kind of compared the two. Let's talk about what could come in a third movie. I'll go to you first, Jay. We talked about how we talked in the trivia the other day about how he wanted to. If people were asking, what if there's multiple people around, and then we addressed that at the end of this film. We talked about some of the comments where he said that that the monster is unique, is extremely specific. So, I mean, what do you think a third movie is going to look like? We're going to get it eventually. I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point. What do you think the third movie is going to look like plot-wise? Where do you think Parker Finn takes this thing?
Well, if it does seem to keep growing with all these people that it kills, man, this fucker is going to be like the size of King Kong by the next movie with how many people are in that music venue. So Jesus. Now I don't know if see, because I don't know the rules of this. I didn't make up this universe, so I don't know if maybe all the people in the music venue are now, could they turn on each other? You know what I mean? Like maybe that would be a wild news story to, you have like a few thousand people all of a sudden just like mass genocide each other. Like I don't know. I'm curious to see how it works with multiple people. Like I said, I don't know if the demon could turn its own, people on itself, or is it now gonna, because it seems like, I think it slowly kind of builds. Like maybe the next day is when things start going awry. So people maybe be leaving this venue and start, oh my God, they're traumatized. This pop singer killed herself in front of all of us, and I don't know, because I'm like, are we gonna follow somebody specific or what? I don't know. I think a really cool, yeah, even if I don't know if they're going to explain it, but I think a really cool final shot would have been like, because we see that reaction shot of all the crowd, like, oh my God, they're freaking out. If for a second they all would have stopped and then like all just tilt their heads down and smiled, and then it cuts to black, that would have been fucking insane. Whole crowd just starts smiling at the camera, and then boom, cut to black, roll credits. Because then I'd be like, what?
That would have eliminated a third movie though, because I
you have all these people that are possessed. I'm like,
I know, but I feel like it would be a much tougher story to tell to talk about how 35,000 people or however many people were in this arena at the time that this happens. Or you can't follow 35,000 people, of course, in one movie. No. That's why I feel like it almost has to be one person. The big question is, who's it going to be? I think it's interesting because
broken people. So I don't know.
But there's broken people we've already seen in this movie, like her mom. Because at the end of the movie, you find out that, like, I forget what point it was, like from a certain point in the movie, it's all pretty much a delusion brought on by this creature rather than reality. So at the end of the movie, before she does all her shit, you see her mom in the stands, who is decidedly not dead. You see her personal assistant. I forget if her friend was there or not. But it's like,
I don't think her friend was ever there, right? I think she called finally.
Well, she calls in, but I can't remember who. There was somebody there with
the friend.
I forget.
The friend was never actually there. It was the rich guy that put on the tour, the mom, and the assistant at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I think it might latch on to one of them, because we don't really know too much of their individual backstories. I mean, I would assume that the mom's probably more than a little fucked up, because why would you let your kid go into the entertainment industry anyway unless you're a little fucked up? But I mean, it could latch on to one of them. That would be an interesting way to continue this thing. It could be her friend, but like I said, I don't know if her friend was there. I think that would be something that could be, but I doubt it. I mean, I have a feeling it's just going to pick one person that was in the crowd. So we'll probably pick this next movie up where the crowd is dispersing after the events of the end of this film, and they're going home, and one person who has experienced trauma is going to be the one that carries that thing home with them. I don't know. What do you think, Tex? What would you do with the third movie?
I know exactly what I'd do. You treat this thing like a zombie outbreak. Okay, we have a concert with, let's say, 10,000 people there, whatever the number is. They all saw this, right? This thing takes 7 days. Smile 3, I turn into an anthology film. Let's say you have a couple different directors come in and do this. So you get different takes, because, not all stories are going to be the same, right? So, and it would kind of change up the franchise a little bit, give it a different flow. Have a mass outbreak of this death curse, whatever you want to call it, whatever name they give to it. And, this can be a television show and or a movie, but given the success, it will probably be a theatrical release. And you really open this up. And hey, if you want to do the prequel route, that's a perfect kind of way. You can have flashbacks to how this thing started, and maybe one of the people affected is some kind of history major or something, right? And then go back researching and doing this and that. That's how I do it. You can have a lot of fun with it. Keep it low budget. You can bring in some experimental directors Maybe, I don't know, whatever you want to do. And it would be a fun way to explore the franchise. So, with as far as being one demon, aren't demons legion? Isn't that the whole thing? I mean, even going back to, with, Jesus in the Bible, we are legion. So just kind of play off of that story as well. That's how I'd do it if it were me, though. So I'd open the world up and tell more stories.
Tex kind of gave me an idea there. Like maybe all these people don't necessarily have to be part of the story past the point of like maybe they're all just kind of fodder and like I said they leave the venue and now they go home and then they've all seen that and maybe some mass thing happens, they all just die, but like someone who was left who witnessed somebody, like some family went home and then someone witnessed it and now that demon attached to that person who's left and now we go on with them. I don't know.
Yeah,
so
there's
some family.
You literally got a crowd full of people to play with here. Why in the movie the way that you did, and to just say, "Oh, we're just going to tell one person's story." Smile is not, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. It doesn't have a face. It's literally just a smile. So you can get cheap actors to fulfill this. And you can tell all kinds of stories here. So, why not go bigger with it, go crazier? But that's what I do.
Well, it kind of is in the fact that it is one thing trying to kill a bunch of people. The entity itself is the killer, is the Michael Myers, is the Freddy Krueger or whatever.
Right.
So,
but
it uses this one person throughout the course of the movie. It doesn't go after several people. We're not talking about a guy walking around with a machete hacking up Haddonfield. We're talking about one entity that is one spirit or whatever that has possessed this one person and is giving them illusions, not actually killing people. At least in this movie.
Well, look at the demon tells Sky, I can't wait to wear your skin because he knows everybody else's eyes are on her. This demon knows what he's doing. So he knows whenever he overtakes her and shoves a microphone into her, skull cavity, which they should have shoved that. Come on, you can't give me that kill and not show me that.
I think getting the crowd response was the moment. That was probably a good shot. I think so.
I think it was cool. Because I forgot.
Okay, at least
that way too. We didn't see her actually get caught on fire. We just saw him react to it and saw like in his
at
eye
least,
happen. I was like, okay.
At least, kind of like Jeremy said a few minutes ago, for the opening of 3, have that start the film. What better of a cold opening than a chick shoving a microphone into her eyeball?
Yeah,
but the demon's whole point of getting Sky was to open himself up to all these other people. And I think it kind of defeats the purpose of this film if you don't fulfill that going forward. So that's what I did.
Maybe that should be the opening kill. Is like maybe we do see Sky actually like just down herself and then go from whoever we're going to go to next. I don't know.
Well, here's what Parker Finn said. This is one of the pieces of trivia that me and Jeremy talked about Tuesday. He said, when asked what if multiple people witnessed Rose's death at the end, could more than one witness carry on the smile curse? Parker Finn revealed, quote, "That's a really fantastic question. It is definitely one we're talking about and discussing." This is the important line that I talked about Jeremy the other day. He says, "I think that the evil in this film is incredibly specific, and I think as we start to peel back the layers and learn more of what its intentions are and how it works, I'd like to think that even by the end of the film, it might still have more surprises in store for us." The fact that they said incredibly specific.
I think he's got an idea, and I just want to let him cook. I hope it's
incredibly specific. To me, doesn't say that he's going to take over all 30,000 people that watch the show, because that's not incredibly specific. That's incredibly general.
Yeah.
So I think when he says incredibly specific, he means as one person. The question is not how many people; it's what's the one person he's going to go after next. So, and we've already got the doctor, the psychiatrist in the first one, the Lady Gaga famous singer from the second one. What kind of person do I want to give this curse to in the third movie that is going to make it? We're going to tell a different story from a different person's perspective in a very different place in life than the first two girls that we've dealt with in the first two films. That's what I think they'll probably end up doing for a third one. But the fact that he says incredibly specific to me says he's not just going to assume the body of everybody in that, or he's not just going to curse everybody in that that theater. So that's what incredibly specific means to me. And on top of that, I mean, even if the only like that the entity only takes over like 5 people, how do you tell 5 different stories over the course of a 90 minute to 2 hour long movie? That's going to be a really crowded movie. I don't know.
Have you never seen a horror anthology film? They've done it many times.
Yeah, but anthology means that that one particular film is not necessarily a sequel; just kind of exists in the same world. You're not. It's like cram all the Cloverfield storylines into one movie. They're going to be just. I mean, a couple of films on their own are just conjoined mess. I mean, you can't tell all 4 or 5 of those stories. One from space, one from New York, one from 10 Cloverfield Lane. You can't tell all those in one.
I actually have the perfect film to use as an example. Trick or Treat from 2009, where Sam, the little guy in the orange jumpsuit wearing the sackcloth, he's the main point in that film. He is the center point. And all of the 3 or 4 different stories that take place all on the same Halloween night involve him in some way, whether it's minor or major, but they all flow within each other. The film doesn't have a huge cast, but it's got all of the stories interlock, which makes it an anthology. And it works because, like, the Smile version would be, the demon would be the Sam character, right? And then you've got 3 or 4 different stories of interlocking tales, whatever, kind of creep show, trick or treat vibes, whatever. I think it could work. It may not be specific as he put in that quote, which I don't know when that quote was and what he means by that. He was very vague in that. But if I were pitching a Smile film, that's where I would go with it, based off of this ending.
I don't know. The fact that he says that the entity is incredibly specific, I think that says that it's not, that he doesn't have any plans of making it occupy more than 1 person. 2 would be a stretch, but when he says the monsters, that the entity is incredibly specific, I would imagine that we could see a 3rd one opening up, like with the events of the ending of this film. And the entity, after, Naomi Scott dispatches herself with the microphone, that I can see the entity kind of rolling through the crowd and then finding one person saying, "Oh yeah, you've got some crazy trauma. I'm going into you." Takes over that person, and then the movie starts from there. I can kind of see that, but I don't know about taking over multiple people because, I mean,
maybe you just
taking over everybody there. You wouldn't be able to tell 30,000 stories in one movie. That number alone is just not possible. And even if you tried to make it just a couple of them, you still have to find a way to squeeze it into 90 minutes or 2 hours because, like Tech said, this movie is about 2 hours and 5 minutes, I think was the official runtime. That's including credits and everything. It's like you don't want to make the movie overly long because then you run the risk of it dragging a little bit. So, and not focusing on one story as much as you focus on the other in the movie being kind of uneven. That's why I think it's probably going to be 1 person. The question is who. What kind of person is this entity going to find its way into next? I think that's a bigger question.
Maybe it could be somebody who was like, I'm just rolling ideas. I started with like you could turn the camera around and be like in the crowd, just kind of in the POV of the crowd, like up on the stage, you can kind of see her, and then we see what actually happened to her. And this person, like you see from they're in the crowd now, witnessing her put a microphone through her face. And then I thought, I don't know, maybe it could be somebody who, I don't know, you want a broken person, have somebody who's getting in an argument with somebody, and all they want to do is go see their favorite pop star and just forget about shit for a few hours. And they're late getting in there, they run in there, and then that's what they witness is running into the venue and then seeing her just like kill herself. It's like, well, that's a bad day. But now this person walked out with that demon, like you were saying, maybe it doesn't necessarily affect all of them, because I guess the fact that it needs someone who's very troubled and broken, got a lot of problems, maybe that's who it would eventually just latch to. So I don't know. Oh, no, it got text. Look at that. Oh no. That could be a way to do it. Like just turn the POV around to someone in the crowd, and then they witness that happen, and it carries on from there. I don't know.
I'm trying to find, maybe it was in there was a piece of trivia I thought I had that comes to mind that I wanted to throw out here. But while Tex is finding his way back in the stream. Let's go ahead and get into some of the trivia now. Actually, he said he'll be right back. So he'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Let's see. Writer and director Parker Finn said that he cast. Look at this picture. It's one of the best ones. Said that he cast Ray Nicholson as Paul in homage to his famous father Jack Nicholson's memorable role in Stephen King's The Shining.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already said it, Jay. You put some white face paint and green hair in this guy. That's your Joker. I think you can pull it off.
You don't even have to, like, there's your picture to edit. Like, somebody who's better at that than me, just dress that picture up. Give me a version of it. He's even got a suit on. Like, give me some version of the Joker with this picture. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's right there. I think he's my age, which is kind of surprising. I was like, with these new, with that Pattinson movie, I'm like, you were suggesting the Joker's next. I'm like, you're about the right age if you want to have these younger.
They've already got that Joker. That was Barry Kagan.
Did they though? Some blurry ass that's definitely that could maybe possibly kind of sort of be the okay. It's part of the Joker.
So I don't know if Barry Kagan did that just to do it, or if they actually have them cast.
I don't think that Joker's. I don't think we're ever going to get fruition of that Joker. I think James Gunn is focusing on his Batman, not Matt Reeves, and James Gunn has clearly stated many times that's the side project. That's not the DCU. James Gunn wants his version of Joker, which, hey, David Howard Thornton's still out there, so, let's get that rolling there, James Gunn.
It's possible.
Yeah, Ray Nicholson's my age. He's 32. That's insane.
Or Nicholson. Yeah, if you want to go younger, go Ray Nicholson. If you want to go older, David Howard Thornton. There's your choice.
I don't think it's a matter of age necessarily. I think David Howard Thornton could do it, and he could do it very, very well. He could probably do several films.
Well, now you're typecast as a crazy clown, so I'm like, well, maybe do something a little different.
But I got to be honest. There's a certain symmetry, a certain serendipitous nature to having Nicholson's son play the Joker. And to top it all off, you can see him playing a different version of Joker. One of the great things about the Jokers we've gotten on screen is they've all been very different versions of Joker. You had even back to Cesar Romero back in the 60s, they were all very different versions. I mean, just looking at him, I could see him being a more maniacal, more murderous version of like Cesar Romero's Joker, where he does play up more to the comedy and then snaps and then like rips somebody's guts out through their ass. And in that, he'll be really funny until that one moment where he does something dastardly and horrible, and then you're just kind of left off foot, like, holy shit, what just happened? And then next thing you know, he's like squirting the fucking flour, the water out of the flour at you, and like, oh, I got you a hand buzzer and all that.
As he's holding like a balloon animal of your fucking small intestine, like
as long. I don't want to see any more. Oh, this Joker just wears face paint. No, I want the white skinned Joker, just like comics, just like Leto's version. That's Joker. I don't want to see it's war paint or he's a clown that spins signs and then whatever.
Well, Nicholson had the white skin.
Yeah,
he had to put on the beige makeup whenever he wanted to not look like the Joker.
I liked the idea of like the one we saw in the Matt Reeves, where I'm like, okay, that one's actually a chemically, burnt person. His skin would start to fade like that, and it gives it that ghostly appearance. His hair's falling out. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want the Ace Chemicals Joker, where he, is burned half to death. And like I said, your skin would discolor like that, and like you could really make this grotesque, but also still true to like what you think.
I like the grotesque look of Joker because it makes him look more mean and maniacal. Yeah. But okay, I want the kind of grotesque looking, but have him dressed in a more comic accurate way. That was my biggest problem with Jared Leto Joker was he wasn't wearing the purple and the green. He was dressed like everything else. Dress him just like Joker from Batman the Animated Series, but messed up. That's the Joker he should be. That's what I want.
Because even if you had a chemically burnt person as the Joker, like I said, you wouldn't have hair. I'm like, that's the goofy comedy. He could just pop on a bright green wig and be like, and hide it. Just wear the purple suit. Well, it'd be kind of funny, honestly. Maybe like the ones from the Arkham games, I guess, but like even from Arkham City, where he's still.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's actually my favorite Joker.
Yeah, no, I thought that one was sweet. It's nasty, but it's also still.
Well, it's kind of like Frank said a minute ago. How perfect of symmetry would it be to get 89 Joker's son to play 2026 Joker and just take it over the top? I mean, I don't know if you put Jack Nicholson in there in some kind of background role just as a ha-ha funny nod kind of thing, but it would be cool to see.
Retired anyway.
Yeah, I think he's like on a yacht somewhere in the French Riviera right now, probably.
Yeah, I don't think he's.
It's basketball season starting. He's courtside at the Lakers.
Oh yeah, he's courtside with the Lakers right now. Never mind. But bring him in as your Joker, and do like I said, give me a purple and green suited Joker. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Moving on. Both Naomi Scott, who plays Skye, and Drew Barrymore, who plays herself in this movie, have featured as angels of Charles Townsend in the film series. Barrymore was in the first two Charlie's Angels films in 2000 and 2003, while Scott was in the third film in 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Both Scott and Barrymore's angels were the catalyst for their film's villain performance, the plot lines.
Yeah. I forgot Drew Barrymore was in this just as herself. I'm like, that's funny. So Drew Barrymore exists in this universe. That's interesting.
I always kind of enjoyed the first two Charlie's Angels movies. They're ridiculous and terrible. They're not high art.
They're not good, but man,
they're fun to watch. They're fun to watch.
Now, this may be a stupid question. Does Drew Barrymore actually have a TV talk show, or was that just for the movie?
She actually has a talk show.
That's real. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She actually,
that was funny.
She actually coined Kamala Harris's nickname Mamala.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I
hate her now.
I don't want to do the political thing until we get to the.
I'm so glad that just for that fact alone,
go online and watch the clip. It is awful. It is so
just for that fact alone. I'm so glad that Ghostface offs her in the first 5 minutes of Scream. Thank God, Team Ghostface. Here we go, buddy. But I didn't know.
Firestarter's a great movie. Firestarter's a great movie. So's E.T.
I didn't know but to the Charlie's Angels thing, I did like. I don't think I saw the second Charlie's Angels, but that first one was great. It's not great. It's fun. I'll say that it's a fun movie. It's an updated version of the old TV show. Like it's a fun early 2000s, late 90s, whatever it was film. I dug it. I thought it was cool.
Let's see. Parker Finn said he actually did not write the role of Paul with Ray Nicholson in mind. He says the connection ended up being a wonderful kismet that worked in their favor.
Well,
I can't not see that picture and not see a fucking Joker. I'm sorry, but that's all I see in my head.
You keep showing me that. Man,
I can't not. I need a good Photoshop of a green and purple suit with green hair and bright ass white skin. Like there you go. My mind is made up. If that doesn't happen now, I'm going to be disappointed. I'll be honest with you. So.
Let's see. It was actually an odd coincidence where the first Smile film in 2022, it featured Cal Penn, and this sequel features Peter Jacobson, both of whom were regulars on the hit TV show House, which started in 2004, and it was about doctors working together to help diagnose and cure sick people, even having storylines with mentally ill patients.
That's where I've seen this guy from. I knew I'd seen him on a TV show, but I could not remember what it was. House was a fun show. I like that.
I've seen him in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I had seen him somewhere, but I couldn't remember where it was from. He was good in this. Like he was playing the mysterious role of, I found you through your friend's phone. He was the last contact. Blah blah blah. And then he just like Jeremy said earlier, he fucks off out of the freezer and he never shows up again. They're like, what the hell? Whatever.
Even if you've never seen a movie before, it was telegraphed so goddamn hard. I'm like, why did he mention that if the freezer door shuts, you can't open it? I'm like, wow, I bet that won't come back to haunt her in about 2 minutes time.
That was the that was the equivalent of, here's a loaded pistol I'm going to put on this shelf over here. And they clearly stated in the movie, it's going to get used in the finale. That was the key jingle that any half-witted, educated movie fan would know was going to, they wouldn't put that in the dialogue if it wasn't important. So,
because again, I was hoping, I'm like, man, maybe this is real, and I'm like, shit, she's gonna get locked in this damn freezer.
I actually thought that was going somewhere else. I'll be real honest with you. Whenever that freezer scene happened, and he said, well, he tracked it all the way down to her, right? Because at this point, the movie's still going. I hadn't made up my mind if this was real or fake. So I thought he was going to try to lock her in the freezer and just freeze her to death. And maybe it would stop there because his whole mission was to stop this thing because it killed his brother. That's where I thought his role was going. But I was wrong.
Yeah, because I wonder what would happen if, like, she had died. Then I'm like, well, then there's no one in there to witness it. I'm like, well, now what does the demon do? I mean, that's also
right. Well,
a good point.
And that's one of the lore questions. What if you get possessed and out of nowhere you have a freaking stroke and you die? Does it just stop? I mean, is the demon done? Is it, I don't know. There's many, people crap on Terrifier 3 because where's the plot? Well, you can do the same thing to this one because there's more questions about this movie than there's Terrifier 3. But whatever. So.
This one is sure to get you guys talking. Sky's friend who dies by suicide is named Louis Frigoli. There is something called the Frigoli delusion. That is when someone believes that multiple people are actually the same person in disguise, which, as shown in the first film, is the Smile entity's MO and fits Laura's description of it from the first movie as wearing people's faces like masks.
Well, there you go.
Huh.
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. Now, like, there was one thing about the whole smiling face thing that I think they messed up on. Now, obviously, we know all of the smiling people weren't really smiling people, maybe. I don't know. But the obsessed fan that is in her apartment, which that dude was creepy as hell. Like, he nailed that part. He was great for what he did. I think they should have left that real. Like, the dude nailed the smile. He nailed the face. I think I would have made that real. And now, obviously, she's dead anymore.
Let's see.
I was gonna say maybe getting a little too real. I said I would tell you guys what happened. I had a fun theater experience when we're going through the apartment, and this guy is allegedly streaking through her apartment, leaving his nasty clothes on her nice little marbled hallway. And admittedly, that's a cool horror shot of him just kind of in the dark, just staring at her. I'm in the moment. I was like, oh shit. And I've seen movies. I'm like, okay, I know there's going to be, he's going to come at her. Right on goddamn cue. Some fucker in the back row goes, Diddy party. I'm like, mother. And then like on cue, boom, he runs at her. I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, they had the,
that was,
Was she doing the pink? Was she doing the pink blow? That's the whole point of this movie. She was doing pink blow at a Diddy party, and she had a hallucination.
Maybe she did.
So she was seeing the whole fucking thing. None of this movie really happened. She was just high on pink blow.
Jackass, man. You put up baby oil in that fucking marbled hallway, man. Someone's falling on their ass. I don't know.
Hey, Texas back again. Yay.
Oh, you missed my story.
I swear to God. Sorry. One more time and I'm kicking her ass out. I swear to God. Please continue.
No, you missed my joke when the crazed fan was in the apartment and like right when he was looking at her hallway, some guy in the back fucking row yelled "Diddy party," and then he like whoom and came at her. I was like, "Fucker, God. Best comedic." Now timing.
I will say, comedic timing. I love that they froze with the shit stained streaked underwear perfectly in frame. They made sure.
I mean, like
man. That dude doesn't need toilet paper. He needs a power wash to clean his ass. Like, Jesus Christ.
You need a bidet. You need a power washer, my guy. You're sitting there helicoptering in my fucking apartment. Get out of here.
He needs to hose off in a gallon of bleach to clean that butthole. But my Lord. I will say, I know that they used that hallway shot of all the creepy people doing the weird, kind of crawl through thing. That to me played off as more cheesy than anything. Did y'all like that? I didn't really care for it. I wasn't there for it.
What scene are you talking about? The psycho guy?
The scene in the hallway where all of the smile people are like chasing after her, and they're all on top of one. That scene, yeah. That I mean, I know it was in the trailers and it was everywhere. You could not see it. Like it didn't play as well for me. Like it wasn't creepy. It was like some kind of weird performance art Blue Man Group nonsense. I didn't really like it.
I really do think that the director probably played some Call of Duty and was like messing around with that cheat code on Nuketown. Was like, this would be really wild to have a visual like this in the flesh in a movie, and then got to this movie is like, we could do something like this at some wild like fever dream that she's having, and that would look cool. I thought it worked out pretty well.
Okay. Do y'all remember World War Z with Brad Pitt?
Yeah, I try not to, but yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, I mentioned that for a reason. The whole how the zombies kind of like they like make like a tower on top of one another to get over the wall, and they work together, and that kind of reminded me of that. Which I didn't like that in World War Z either, and maybe that's why I didn't like it in this film. I don't know. To me, it didn't. Like, I get why the visual. It's a creepy. It's a whatever. I understand that, but I don't know. I didn't really like it that much, so I wasn't a fan.
I don't know if you have any pictures of it, but there were two visuals that were kind of cool. I don't remember where it happened, if it was supposed to be the demon, but like, oh no, I think it was. I think it was when she was in the freezer. Like, it had these like piercing eyes that were just like this fucking big or some shit. This shit was creepy.
Oh, the evil version of Sky where she's fighting herself. That did look cool.
That was sweet.
I like that. Yeah, where she had like the black ooze coming out of her mouth and all that. That was cool. Yeah.
And then the one other thing that kind of actually got me, because that's like I still kind of expected a jump scare, but I didn't expect what it was going to be. When she was laying in bed and she was trying to talk to her friend, I didn't expect her friend's face to just like light up like a fucking jack-o'-lantern, and it was the car horn and then the headlights from the car coming out of her eye holes in her mouth. I was like, whoa. Okay, that was a new one, and that was good. That one got me. That was creepy. I expected something a little different, but man, that one kind of took me by surprise. That was cool.
Let's see.
Well, actually, thinking back about it now, okay. After she escapes the mental asylum, or not mental asylum, but that wellness center, whatever, she cuts her foot on the broken glass, right?
Mm-hmm.
That happens in the dream. But basically, like after the fight, that doesn't affect her anymore. So is that maybe a tale of real and fake? Because I could see that being one of the determining deals. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like in Inception. Like how the spinning top, if it falls, that's kind of a tell that it's real or it's not. What if the whole my foot doesn't hurt anymore? Maybe she stabbed it in the dream, or did she stab it in the real? I don't. There's a lot of questions with this. I don't know.
She was then driving the car. Her
friend That's what I'm saying.
Well, that would be a good time for this next piece of trivia that I got that I found. I forgot to put in my list.
Oh, there we go. Perfect timing. There we go.
Yeah, the doctor saying that Sky is severely dehydrated despite her constantly drinking water in the movie tells us not to trust what we see, and that the entity is able to conjure far more complex, subtle, and enduring scenarios than anticipated. There is also several logic jumps and inconsistencies that cannot be explained by the entity's power, like Sky managing to free herself and overpower her mother without a struggle, suddenly learning how to drive and managing to do so for around a minute with her eyes closed. That hints at the fact that that all these scenes are not real.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen? I mean, Texas probably seen it. Have you seen? Was it called Oculus? The one with the mirror and Karen Gillan. It was the two siblings. They were trying to figure out what was going on.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Does it seem like that where like she's like she took precautions? She's like, all right, I'm gonna set a timer so we make sure we eat, we make sure we drink. We're doing this in intervals. We're gonna keep the cameras rolling. And then you find out like, oh no, they really didn't. There was a big gap there where they thought they ate and then they didn't, and they were there for a few hours. And then you see the ending coming a mile away where it's like, I'm gonna launch the thing into the mirror and crack it. And then no, he cracked his sister's head open. I'm like, oh well, yeah.
Usually,
is it usually like that?
usually when we review a film, especially a new one, I try to see it at least twice to just to kind of grasp it more. I only got to see this one once. I've got questions like, I don't know. My gut's telling me everything once she sees the friend smash himself in the face is not real. Like up until the ending scene of her smiling and she has a microphone in her face. I think that's more, and what Frank just said just kind of gives even more credence to that because, I mean, the second it takes over, this isn't, Carrie Underwood, Jesus take the wheel. You're dealing with the other side. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Here's another piece of trivia that can answer. Here's another piece of trivia that talks to that. When the smiling fans appear in Sky's house and drag her down, and a bloody arm is shoved down her throat, not unlike how the final possession was revealed to take place in the first movie. Even if it's not the exact moment Sky gets possessed, the entity is in complete control after that point.
Yeah, it seems like it has.
Well,
like I said, it seems like it's just playing with her environment. It's like making her lose her shit. And like I said, now how we see it play out may not exactly be what anyone else is seeing her do. I don't know.
So if that's the case, then maybe it's more like The Exorcist, where, like, in the beginning, it's just, Reagan's spider walking. She's pissing in the floor. Now she can levitate the goddamn bed. Like it's there's levels to this shit, which would make sense. But I mean, that doesn't take away from my point of once he enters, he has at least some control. I don't know. I'm not for sure. I need to watch this.
Like, I was like, wait, where did the gun go? She just took that gun off the guard. Then I was like, no, wait, right. She gave it to the doctor, right?
But
was the doctor really? But was he there? She just gives him the gun, and then that was it. And I was like, okay.
Well, that whole thing could have been in her mind anyway, so maybe there was actually no gun.
That's what I mean. I didn't really understand the point of her cutting her foot, other than like, that's unfortunate. That's a cool little visual for picking a piece of glass out of her foot. And I'm like, but why? I don't know.
Right.
Anyway,
she's leaving bloody footprints down on the sidewalk now, but I don't know.
Let's talk about drinking. The way Sky deals with her drug and alcohol. The way Sky deals with her drug and alcohol cravings is by chugging glass bottles of Voss water in one go. And it was not done with any kind of VFX, but actress Naomi Scott actually doing it. She said it's actually really hard to down a big bottle of Voss water. I guess I didn't anticipate how uncomfortable that would be.
I was wondering. I feel like she was actually doing that. That's fucking impressive. And I wondered how many.
Was that a corporate sponsorship? Like, can you go buy Voss water or whatever that was?
I kept wondering that too.
Probably product placement, but the reality is some uppity singer like her probably won't drink like Ice Mountain water that we get from Speedway or the gas station like we do. She's going to drink high-end stuff like the fucking pH water or some shit like that. So yeah, it makes sense to be something.
I highly doubt you're going to Sam's and buying a 24-pack of Ozarka or something. They're not doing that. Yeah.
I wondered if it was supposed to be a product placement too, because like when it right before the crazed fan allegedly comes into her apartment and like she sets it on the edge of her counter, you hear it break.
Yeah.
When you look over and you see the shards of glass broken, I'm like, wow, that's amazing that the logo stayed in one whole little broken piece.
Oh yeah, no, the logo was always.
God damn it! Yeah.
Well, that's how you know when a movie is product placement. If the logo is facing towards you clearly, they paid for that. If it's not, you're not going to see the label. It'll be like
the whole bottle
Doritos. It'll be like a bag of Doritos, but with an L instead of a D at the beginning. It'll be just similar enough, but different.
Oh, like how they did that in Friends. So they changed one little thing about it. It's not actually the real thing. Yeah.
There is product placement in almost every movie, especially these days.
Oh yeah.
It's usually so subtle that you don't notice it, but then every once in a while they'll do something like in Wayne's World. They'll be like, "I will not bow to any sponsor."
Holds it up.
Right.
Sometimes they'll make fun of it. But yeah, there's product placement in almost every big budget movie. That's one of the ways they pay for the movie. It's one of the ways they
I don't know if y'all saw this or not, but like in my theater they had Sky Riley cups, like they didn't have like Smile 2 cups. They had Sky Riley cups that were the cover of the CD of like her mouth, and it said Sky Riley with a heart on it. Like after walking out of this movie, I was like, how cool would it have been if you could have bought one of those bottles of water to drink as you're watching this movie? Like that would have been fun to do. That could have been a fun thing to pick up on the way out of the theater or something. But missed opportunity, I guess.
I was thinking as I was watching that, like all the water she drinks, there is something called hydrotoxicity, I think is what it's called, to where you can drink so much water that it actually hurts your body. I remember reading an article a long time ago about a lady who was doing a competition for like a local FM radio station to try to win her kid the new Xbox, whichever version of the Xbox that just come out. And the challenge was you had to drink X amount of water at X amount of time or whatever. And this one ended up suffering from hydrotoxicity and dying from drinking too much water because it fucked your body up. So yeah, it's like, yeah, hydration's good, but you don't want to just drink gallons of water all the time. You got to make sure
there is such thing as too much of that.
Way. There's actually a piece of trivia in here that actually talks to the medical thing, and I didn't put it in the notes. I'll see if I can find it real quick. But it says that doctors actually suggest where the hell was it at? I didn't put it in here because it didn't sound very. Here it is, right here. Sky Riley is seen frequently taking big gulps of whole bottles of water throughout the movie while standing up. It's actually recommended by doctors to avoid doing so because it overworks the body, decreases the absorption of various nutrients, and makes it hard for the body to properly hydrate. It's generally suggested to consume water slowly, sip by sip, and sitting down, exactly the opposite of how she does in the movie.
Well, maybe that's what was going on, man. She's not really helping her case here.
So she wasn't demon possessed; she was waterlogged. That's what really happened. Makes sense.
Yeah, the whole time the monster was like, "Drink that, bitch."
Go to the bathroom.
Actually, because after my whole heart situation, I was told, "Hey, Tex, you got to drink more water. You can't drink so much whiskey; you're gonna die." I don't know how many people told me that.
There's water in whiskey.
I'm gonna use this film as the example. I'm going to use this film as the example of why I was actually living right. They were wrong. So that's what I'm going to do.
Beer is mostly water and hops and barley. It's a meal.
Hey, what do you think is in this, my friend? So good.
This is a really deep cut, but wasn't that from Osmosis Jones where like Bill Murray was like sick and the brother or something comes over with some beer. He's like, yeah, you gotta drown the flu, man. He gives him a beer. He's like, is beer a liquor? He's like, yeah. Why is all that wet stuff in it? I'm like,
I may have given up my whiskey, but they're not getting my Lone Star, by God. So I gotta have something to live. So it's all good.
Let's see. The movie poster actually foreshadows Sky's fate in the end. There's a red crack running down her right eye, which alludes to where Sky would fatally slam the microphone into herself while possessed by the entity.
Oh, yeah, so it does.
Not even just that. If you pull up the Suicide Squad 2016 poster art of Joker, that big red smile across the mouth, that's where they got that from. Like, that is, that's the first thing I thought of whenever I saw that. Whenever you pull up the Joker images from that was one of the images that they used, a big red grin. But it's a cool poster. I mean, it's something I wouldn't mind having on a wall. But it works. I think it looks good.
Let's see. In a sudden flash of inspiration, I'll find a good picture for this. So I'll go this one. While planning for the sequel, Parker Finn threw out many ideas within the first months of brainstorming, but he deemed that if they were coming to me this quickly, they're probably too obvious. Then one night, in a sudden flash of inspiration, the idea for Sky Riley came to him. He said, quote, "There was an evening that this idea about this character, Sky Riley, a pop star, hit me like a bolt of lightning. I got obsessed with it." Finn would say, "I love that this world is so unexpected for a horror film. The glitzy, glammy, shiny world of a pop star felt like such a collision with the Smile film. And he'd really love to see where that could go." Like I said, I agree. I think it was great setting it in an almost opposite kind of place from where Sosie Bacon's character was in the first movie.
Yeah,
making them very completely opposite people of one another.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. And like I said, I know that the Smile Demon only gets one at a time. It completely defeats the purpose of the ending of this film. If going forward, if your whole point was getting the pop star to spread your, seed everywhere, to not have it be on a Mass Effect. I think that's a missed opportunity if they do that.
I don't think that the entity was seeking out a pop star for Mass Effect. I think it just ended up on her.
I don't know.
Because if you think about it, any one of those people could have run up in front of a crowd of people. They could have walked out in the middle of Times Square and said, "Everybody look at me," dispatch themselves, and then all those people that were in Times Square take this curse everywhere, and then the world ends. That's why I think it's interesting where he said that this entity is incredibly specific. It's only ever going to take over one person at a time.
Well, just another example I would cite. I mean, how every time we got a different Friday the 13th movie, Jason was sometimes slightly or drastically different from the last time we saw him the year before. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that by the time we get Smile 3, the mythology is, quite a bit different. I mean, how many times have we seen lore just up and, they change as they go? I mean, and the problem with this conversation that we're having, we're dealing with one guy writing this. We're not talking to him or in his head, so we're giving our perspective of what he could be thinking. So both of us could be wrong here. Who knows?
One facet of this story too is that I'm like, it seems like the trail is there, and I'm like, so how is, we don't know how long this thing has been around, but like, how has no one really noticed it to think that that's weird? I mean, like her friend in the first movie, the cop was like, oh yeah, I can go back and this person was murdered, this one was murdered, this one, and it went back, and I'm assuming the nurse at least kind of got the idea of there were other people, one of them being his brother. I don't know. I feel like the thing that would maybe ruin it is like, well, if we start figuring it out, then there's kind of the end of that. So I don't know if maybe that's part of the mystery. Is it like no one's really looked at it like, hey, wait a minute, this chain of things keeps happening. I don't know. It just hasn't been figured out yet, which is
okay.
I guess
But
nice.
Here's the thing, though. If we're dealing with a demon here, okay, demons are old world. This is not like, it just started 50 years ago. Demons are a biblical thing. So is this going to be like a Bible situation where this one begat that one and that one begat that one, and then we're 5,000 people later? If you really want to tell an origin for this, that would be you got to go back a long time. So I don't, you can go a lot of ways with this franchise. There's a lot you can do, but I don't know. These Smile movies, I mean, I said this a few weeks ago. The Smile movies are the new Final Destination. You don't have a bad guy. You have death, or now it's just a smile dude. It's not, one entity. It's not Michael Myers. It's not Art the Clown. It's not whatever. So being that open can sometimes be a negative instead of a positive if not handled correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cain killed Abel, and someone over there in the tree saw it. That's how it started. I don't know. Someone's over there like, son of a bitch.
So Smile 3 is going to be a biblical epic of Cain and Abel. There you go. Hey, the movie's already been written. Just go read your Old Testament. The writing's been done. Just film that. You're fine.
One of the greatest openings to a movie, even though the movie sucked. Even though the movie sucked, the coolest opening was to Wolverine Origins. We see him just fight through every single war. If we just watch this demon just through time, just killing people one after another.
Cool. I know X-Men Origins is not a great film, but I will defend that movie. By God, I enjoy that movie.
It was fun.
I don't care what anybody says.
The coolest scene from it is what I was saying was, in fact, the beginning of them fighting through all the wars. I mean, that was cool.
Yeah.
I dug it.
But that's all the trivia I've got. Probably a good time to start wrapping things up. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. Go to you first, Tex. Give me your final thoughts on Smile 2.
Yeah, Smile 2 is better than 1. They improved on the concept. They made it bigger. Fun kills. I would have liked to see a little more practical, less CGI, but maybe I don't know, whatever. Maybe they didn't have Tom Savini available. I don't know. This is a fun concept if handled correctly. If not, I could see this burning out pretty fast. But you should go watch this. It's not quite Terrifier levels of gore, but it's good. I enjoyed it. Naomi Scott nails it in this role. She goes from spoiled pop star to kind of you feel bad for her when she's in the rehab to once they reveal, what she did. Yeah, you don't feel bad for her anymore. So many good things. I mean, we got the new DCU Joker in this film. I mean, if this wasn't an audition, I don't know what is. Yeah, you should go see this one. It's fun.
Jay, how about you? Give me your final thoughts on Smile 2.
Yeah, definitely a worthy sequel. Following up in this universe, they did go bigger, and they, like Tex was saying, they kind of melded this concept into something. It's getting there. Like I said, I want to see this guy. I want to let him cook. I think it's got something cool. We can go either direction with this. We can go 6 days, 6 seconds, whatever the hell, right after this second movie, or 600 years in the past. I don't care. Wherever this thing came from.
Go to the Old Testament.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Like I said, this has got a lot of potential to see other venues of this, and I'm kind of excited for it. I think it's growing on me. It really is. And like I said, this one having it's almost like you think about taking a risk of like, now we're going to put it literally into the limelight here of a pop singer. It's like, no, but somehow that worked. I'm like, that could have gone very wrong, but honestly, he knocked it out of the damn park. And yeah, Naomi Scott fucking just carried the shit out of this movie. I thought it was pretty cool. And like, if we don't do more with Jack Nicholson's son, I'm going to swing at somebody. He's got something there. If you don't, I mean, send in that tape of that scene, man. Like, just there's your audition for something. He's got it.
Wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?
Right. And the funny thing is, he wasn't even really the crazy one in that situation. He wasn't the one who killed somebody. Like, Jesus, man. Satan took the wheel.
God. When they were in that car scene and he's calling her a psychotic bitch, they should have had him use the line, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts." And then call her. That was a missed opportunity. Thinking about it now.
That was actually Michael Keaton's line. He should have said, "You ever danced with the devil by the pale moonlight?"
Or have you ever danced with the devil? Yeah, that could have been great too. Oh my God, so many lines.
Yeah, no,
I love all my parade. I think it has a nice ring to it.
It just turns out some prince like, gentlemen, let's educate ourselves. I don't know. You have to have a lot of fucking money to get Prince in your movie, though. Even
Prince comes on singing "Party Man," and he's just dancing. Oh my God!
Exactly. Or no, gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. That's what he says. I couldn't remember what he said.
Yeah, broaden our minds. Yeah.
This town needs an enema.
Hang on, can we supercut Jack Nicholson's son with Jack Nicholson's lies? Oh my God! I'm gonna be pissed if he's not Joker now. God, I'm gonna get pissed. James Gunn, I know you're not watching, but you cast this guy. I swear to God, it'd be great.
I agree with you guys that there's a lot to like about this movie. I'm disappointed that they didn't dig a little deeper into exactly what this thing is or how to beat it, especially after all the work they did exposing what this entity is in the first movie. This movie just it doesn't really, while it's entertaining to be sure, it doesn't really add much to the lore. I mean, it's like you find out everything about this entity in the first movie, and you don't find out anything about it in this movie, except for the fact it focuses on something that we really kind of learned in the first movie. They don't explore it too much, but we kind of learn that it can kind of fuck with your mind and make you think that you're doing something when you're not. And that's kind of all it really uses. That's the only thing that it uses about this creature in the movie. It doesn't push the thing forward. So I feel like what's going to end up happening is, let's say they make a third one, and the third one, the entity is finally killed or whatever. You can kind of skip this movie altogether because it isn't really even a second act in a 3-act structure that would be 3 films. That's kind of my knock on it. Not that it's not a good movie, not that it's not a good horror movie, not that it doesn't have the visuals, the great acting and stuff. It's got all those things, but just from a story perspective, it doesn't really carry the overall story very far. That's my only real knock in the movie. The rest of it is fantastic. The acting was great. The writing was great. Again, first-time director follows up with another strong movie that was great. That's awesome. I'd like to see that. So I mean, is it a rewatchable movie? Absolutely. And I think maybe what may end up happening is the third movie is going to come out, and hopefully that'll be the end of the Smile franchise. Because like I said, I hate it when franchises go 27 movies deep before somebody finally says maybe we should stop and reboot. Make a trilogy. Trilogy is good. First, second, and third act. That's how it's supposed to be. But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. It's rewatchable. I don't know that I'll go see it again in theaters, but once it hits streaming, I'll probably sit and watch it again because it is a good film overall.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch this one. I just see if there's any kind of clarification.
Yeah, JSP. What's up, JSP?
Hey.
Yeah, Casey hasn't been in here trying to feed off our clout yet. He must be busy.
You shouldn't have said it. You shouldn't have said he's gonna pop up now. You watch. He's
let him. Let him. I mean, hey, the more chatting we have, the more they push us up the YouTube algorithm. So let Casey go.
Casey's like a blister. He didn't show up till the work's done. All right. We have a wild Rachel spotting. We're all screwed now. Yeah. We're all gonna let's see. Jeremy's gonna eat that microphone. I'll probably I don't know how I'm gonna die. Maybe like shotgun to the head or something cool. Frank might just choke himself with that microphone cord. That's how he's going to do himself in. So,
probably.
Probably.
We'll somehow Casey got 2 votes, which is really concerning to me. I don't know how that happened. He got on his alt account.
It's easy to get 2 votes when you've got 15 accounts subscribing to yourself, Casey, as well.
Yeah. Probably. That's how he has half of his subscribers. he's got 300 fake accounts and all of them subscribe to him and nobody else. That's a good place to start. That's a good place to start wrapping things up. I want to thank my co-host for being so amazing as always. We may be getting towards the end of October, but I don't think we're done doing scary movies for a while. I think into November we've got a couple I really want to approach that is going to be pretty awesome. I do want to get some of the older ones. Need to re-review a couple. I think when Jeremy and I did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Tex had not yet joined the channel, and I think we have to go back and revisit that because I really want to. Because I think all three of us will just gush over that.
There's what? Yeah. I know you can't see it, but inside of this brain is 37 years worth of knowledge of Texas Chainsaw lore that I'm happy to spread out on the internet. So it's all good.
I may not even bother doing trivia for that one. I would just be like, okay, Tex, give us another useless fact about this movie.
Me and him could just give you the whole fucking trivia.
I can. I think
that was not taxidermy. That was an actual armadillo on the road.
I have read Joe Bob Briggs' 12,000 word article that he wrote for Texas Monthly, where he interviewed everybody from the film. I've seen every documentary. I can go on for days. So, homework has been done, sir. So we're good.
Yes, we will definitely get that. Also, don't forget the election stream is coming up November 5th. I will be live from probably, I want to say right about the usual time, 8-ish, until we either get a winner or they decide that they're going to have to stretch it out to another couple of
days. More likely to get Civil War than a winner, but good luck.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be fun. I have a feeling some people are going to be coming and going. I don't know if Cora's going to be on that one or not. Jennifer's niece is going to be on for at least a while. So Jeremy's going to come in full President Loki.
Come on.
We're gonna we may even do a live vote somehow. Like who would you vote for, Harris, Trump, or President Loki? I have a feeling I know who's gonna win that.
Well,
if the whole place is going to hell,
I will come on here and I will argue my case. I really will.
Have y'all voted? Has Ohio started voting yet? Because I've already voted. I went ahead and did it early.
I think you can early vote. Yeah,
early voting started. I think a week ago, something like that. Maybe
I voted it was Monday or Tuesday when I did it. I can't remember. I did it on the first day that Texas could vote, so I wanted to get mine in before it got stolen, in the whatever. So I wanted to make for sure. So.
Yeah, I know Ohio's got early voting right now, so
I'm sure Tex will be here too. So I'm gonna do my best to moderate that rather than to bloviate my opinion because I want to try to keep things as even as possible. But
I reserve myself from going full Alex Jones 99% of the time. Election night filters out the window, buddy. So we are going hardcore info warrior here. So no regrets. It's all good.
Let's see. My header last week, Jeremy. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Oh, underground. One more time. This is the season finale. This is the final hurrah. This is the last weekend to come down and see me do my thing for the
final countdown.
Hey, we do like a big speaker down there with some Bluetooth, and we start blaring some dumb shit in there. So yeah, it's coming to a close, but we're not done yet because in the month actually 30 tomorrow is exactly 30 days till the wedding. So there's that, and then I'm gonna basically just take a year off. So bye. It's just stressful, and I want to die. But don't let that sway you. I kid. It'll be nice. It'll be fun. It'll be nice to kind of relax now. Finally, after November and then into December, just kind of chill in the spring, and then go on a trip. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I'm always here. Tuesday, Thursday. I almost forgot what day it was. But I dug my President Loki thing out of the closet, as Frank said. So if you don't like either candidate, that's okay. You can vote for me, but please don't actually do that because I'm not of age. So next cycle.
Next election.
No, I will be of age. Also, please don't do that. I know how the internet works. I don't want that kind of smoke. Hey, look, I'm not going to go to some golf course and damn near get my head blown off. So
I am writing in President Loki. No, I'm going to President Loki this year. I'm writing in President Loki. If the whole world's going to hell, we're going to hell with President Loki. Let's enjoy the ride.
Like I said, if anyone does, I will plug that comic. If anyone hasn't read it, it's a short read. It's like 4 issues. Just read the Vote Loki comics. It's kind of hilarious. It did come out in 2016. If you know anything about that election cycle, it's very not obvious who the 2 other candidates are, and then he comes in there.
It's just kind of like how it wasn't Ronald Reagan in The Dark Knight Returns either, right? That totally wasn't Reagan.
It was definitely not Trump and definitely not Hillary in that comic. But yeah, it's still funny. He's like, hey, look, they'll lie to you, but I'll lie to you and you'll know it. That's kind of his point. Like, yeah, I will lie to your face and be honest about it.
Yeah.
So, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, the shape from Lone Star State. Why are we in text? Where can the folks don't find you, sir?
Well, this past weekend, I went to my local Six Flags here. They had their haunted attractions. I'm not going to call them haunted houses because it was all based off of movie stuff. I got to go to a Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, which it was based off the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it was still cool. I enjoyed it. The Saw one, if y'all live anywhere near Six Flags, go to the haunted houses. The Saw one, it was straight up like replicas of props from the film. They had the torture rack from Saw 3. They had a chicken with their reverse bear trap on, like so many scenes from different movies. They had the eyeball trap from Saw X. Go check those out. As far as watches, tonight I'm going to do the Night of the Demons from 1988 and my favorite of them all of them, 2009. So if you want to watch something spooky. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and congratulate Frank ahead of time because his Niners are playing my horrible Cowboys this Sunday, and we are not winning that football game because we can't even run a football. So, congratulations, Frank. So there you go.
I can't. The funny thing is, it's like I'm going into this week. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell the Niners are going to do from week to week anymore.
Yeah,
it's like the Cowboys aren't talented enough to hand us our asses. There was something I saw on Facebook the other day. I looked at it and I was like, that makes perfect sense, even though it makes me sad. So when I taken the Niners logo, taking the SF out of it, and put the wheelchair from the handicap sign in it, that's pretty much where we're at.
Hey,
I mean,
our idea of a running back. Our best running back can't go more than 4 yards without falling over. So y'all's defense should have no problem. So no worries.
And they're talking about the Niners trading for a wide receiver. I'm like, why? You're going to trade valuable draft capital for a guy who's not going to be around next year anyway. I'm like, we have good receivers when they're healthy. But Ayuk's out. We've got a deep receiving core. It's just offensive line's got to protect. Defense hasn't been good all year, and that's been the staple of the Niners team for the last 5-6 years. It's all going wrong right now. McCaffrey, who the hell knows when he's coming back? They still haven't opened his practice window yet. now Mason's hurt, and we were kind of on that rookie now who certainly showed flashes, but I'm like, I don't know if he's ready to step into the spotlight just yet.
Well,
but I mean, I don't know, man. We'll see.
Y'all could roll out there with half a football team and beat my Cowboys, unfortunately. So I expect the worst, but it is what it is.
I am not one. I mean, I am confident that this is a game the Niners can win. I am.
Oh, I'm 100%. Yeah.
I am not holding my breath as to what the hell is going to happen in this game because I mean it seems like right now if Brock Purdy stubs his pinky toe, then it's all going to go to hell. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I just
yeah.
Win this game Sunday is my mantra for the rest of the season. Just win Sunday. Not looking forward, not looking back. Just win Sunday. Whoever's next, just try to beat that team and be good. But I don't know. Hopefully we're going to have McCaffrey back at some point. Purdy's still doing pretty well. I mean, he has his rough games because he's still young. Young quarterbacks will have rough games, but it's I don't know. Like I said, that game last week against Kansas City just showed that this year we don't have it. I mean, so winning the division is possible, making the playoffs possible, making a deep run in the playoffs and contending for the Super Bowl. I don't think this is the year. I think eventually Kansas City is going to rattle off a third straight because there's not really anybody in the AFC or the NFC that's going to stop them this year. So
I'm not even sure the Cowboys could buy a ticket to the Super Bowl this year, so I don't think they're qualified. So.
Dude, I was looking at tickets to the World Series the other day, and the cheapest one I found was there's like nosebleed seats like 40,000 feet above sea level at Dodger Stadium for a grand piece. The cheapest ones that I found at Yankee Stadium were I think 1,300 a piece for like way up third deck top row. And I'm like,
my Rangers got it last year. I am still celebrating the 2023 World Series win by the Texas Rangers because God knows when we're going to get another one. So I'm holding on to that one with dear life.
Because a week from now, you can't say you're the defending champion anymore. So
Right. For a week from now, I can no longer say we're the current World Series champions. I'm embracing it as long as possible. So it's all good.
Yeah, but I don't know. I doubt I'll be able to go live for the game Sunday. I was thinking about it, but I'll have my kids over. I'm still, like I said, I'm thinking about moving this room around a little bit. Me and Jim are kind of working on what we're going to do with our little home office here. So, and I got to do
the Cowboys are so bad. I'm not even watching the full games anymore, dude. I'm going to the bar and like half watching it, not even paying attention. I have mentally and emotionally checked out on this football team. I got to be honest with you.
And to make it worse, my fantasy team sucks this year too. It's like I keep catching everybody their big weeks. It's like I'll put out like 130 points, and I'm like, okay, that'll be the week that I catch some guy who like their quarterback and wide receiver both pop for 40 apiece. I'm like, God damn it.
I'm running 4 teams. 2 of them suck. One is in the lead of the league, and then the other one is like I might make the playoffs, but it's whatever. It's all good.
But anyway, we'll get around to it. And don't forget, folks, we'll be back here on Tuesday going over Venom: The Last Dance. It's getting some weird reviews, not so great, but people are walking out of the theater saying the movie's not good, but it's the best of the trilogy. That's something I keep hearing over and over and over again. I don't know how to take that. How could it be not great, but still the best of the trilogy? I actually think the first 2 were plenty of fun. But we're going to be going to see it this weekend, and we'll be back here on Tuesday going over Venom: The Last Dance. Is it going to help Sony's Spider-Verse get back on good footing after the train wreck that was Morbius and Madam Web? It's leading into, hopefully, something good we're going to get with Kraven the Hunter, which comes out, I think, next month. So, yeah. Hopefully.
Isn't it December? I thought it was December.
Maybe it's December. I don't know. It's coming out soon. It's
I'm not sure.
So the success of this movie is going to directly affect how people view that movie. Hopefully we like them both. I'm thinking we will. I'm confident that I'll like this movie. Kraven, I don't know. It's an untested character for the movie, so I don't really know. We're going to find out. But thanks to my co-host for being so awesome as usual. Thanks to all of you for coming in and hanging out with us. We very much appreciate it. We will see you guys on Tuesday for Venom: The Last Dance. Till then, adios.
Smile. That really hurts some points on you.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like most modern day pop stars should just kind of off themselves anyway because their music sucks.
Oh, so, I was totally envisioning Taylor Swift as she shoved that microphone into her eyeball. I'm not gonna lie.
Just kill Chelsea first, then yourself. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't do this. I don't mean that. That's not right.
I'll take the smile demon.
I'm tired of hearing about you two, so both of you go away.